Ready to
Having
go
me.
when you are.
Okay, it's recording because it's countdown. Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone. Like you said, my name is Ethan. I thank you for having me here. I walk around the school. I'm normally handing out inspiration cards. Most have gotten one of these inspiration cards, and I'll pass them out again before I leave. Fortunately, one day I was walking in the door and I was handing out inspiration cards, and I met Kurt sitting at the desk, and he was actually writing inspiration on cups. So we started having a conversation, and he asked me how I got here, and I shared my story. So just a brief history about me. I grew up in Detroit. I'm the youngest of 4 children. None of my siblings graduated high school. Everybody dropped out. Some got a GED, some got nothing at all. What did I do? I followed suit. I went to high school and I dropped out. But I didn't just go to high school and decide one day I didn't want to be there anymore. I literally went every day. I went every day. I just didn't do any work. I was too busy chasing girls and playing football. In Detroit, it didn't really matter if your grades were bad. If you had talent, they'd let you play. So I played football. I blamed all my problems on everyone else. I blamed it on my mom and dad separating when I was 7, getting a divorce. I blamed it on my father not really being a full-time father. I blamed everybody for the mistakes that happened in my life. And in blaming everyone for the things that happened in my life, as I got older, I carried it with me. Just carried it with me. I made an excuse for everything that I did. Why did I cheat on my girlfriend? Because I didn't trust women. Why did I not trust women? Because my mother left. Like, you're 20 plus years old now. You can't keep using that excuse. So fast forward to keeping pace with time. In 2013, I got a divorce from my high school sweetheart. Why did I get divorced? I was still immature. And I was roughly 33, 34 years old. I was still pretty immature. I was still holding on to the hurts and pains from my childhood, from my parents separating, from being cheated on, from dropping out of high school, from going back to high school, finishing late. I was just carrying excuses. So I got a divorce in 2013. We attempted to reconcile, stayed together for a while. In 2014, I realized it's not working out. I'm gonna leave. But I made it like it was her fault. And it was really my fault. To be honest, it was my fault. I walked out. Why did I walk out? I don't know. But when I thought about it as I got older, walking out and leaving my wife and leaving my family, as crazy as it sounds, was the best thing that happened to me. It was the best thing that happened to me. She didn't understand it. I didn't understand it. I knew I was running away from something. What was I running away from? Personally, I thought I was just running away from growing up. But what I realized sometime later is I had made my wife my God. If my wife told me everything was going to be okay, it was going to be okay. If my wife told me don't worry about finances, I didn't worry about finances. If my wife told me don't worry about a job, I didn't worry about a job. I didn't seek God for anything. Now, I was raised in a church. I was raised in a Pentecostal apostolic church where they believed in speaking in tongues, and you had to be saved, and you had to wear a long skirt down to your ankles, and you had to cover your head up with a chapel scarf, and you definitely couldn't show up to church dressed like this, because that's not presentable in the eyes of God. I was in a church choir. I was on a church basketball team. I was in a church pep rally. I was very involved in church. Why was I involved in church? Because my parents told me I had to go. My dad told me. He was a minister. So that's why I got so heavily involved in church. But I was involved in church in a religion. I didn't have a relationship with God. So that's how I was able to keep riding that rough roller coaster that I was on, blaming everybody for my past, blaming people for the mistakes that I made. So getting back into the story, I divorced my wife. I left. I went to Egypt with my National Guard unit. While in Egypt, I started a new relationship with the woman I had been talking to previously. A woman I had cheated on my wife with. I started talking to her. At the end of my deployment from Egypt, I came back to Texas. I was in Texas for approximately 2 days. I moved back to Michigan where I was from. I moved back to Michigan. I was in Michigan for a month. I got remarried to this same young lady. Well, to this young lady. I got remarried. All along, my spirit was telling me it was the wrong thing to do. All along, my spirit was telling me I wasn't supposed to be here in Michigan. All along, my spirit was telling me if you would just slow down and you would listen to me, I could help you change your life. I didn't trust anybody. I didn't trust God. I didn't trust women. I figured it was all on me. I can do it all on my own. I got here by myself. I'll keep going. That was my thought. That was my process. So here it is, 2017. I was married. It was March, and it was right before my 40th birthday. About a week or two ahead before my 40th birthday. Woke up one day and I just wasn't feeling it. I knew I was in a bad situation. I knew I shouldn't have been in a relationship. I knew shouldn't have been in Michigan. Just wasn't feeling it. But I said to myself, Ethan, you cannot get divorced again. What would that look like to everyone looking at you? How can you get divorced again? You must stick this out to be the man that you think you're supposed to be. Even though I was in a situation I shouldn't have been in. And for the first time in quite some time, I prayed. And I asked him, whatever your will is, I'll do it. You tell me what your will is, I'll do it. And as clear as I'm talking to you, God said as crystal clear to me as I could ever hear, if you don't stop what you're doing now and follow me, you'll continue to live this life that you've been living. I'll continue to be looking at myself as a high school dropout. I'll continue to look at myself as a man that had 5 children by 3 different women. I'll continue to look at myself as a young boy whose parents divorced and separated. See, we have a tendency to look at the scars that happen in our life instead of looking at the life that God has given us. Anybody in here like shoes?
Yeah.
Anybody like shoes?
Yep.
I love shoes. I'm a sneakerhead. Love shoes. These shoes right here, you can't see it. It's a scuff on it. I wore them one time. Walking in my garage and I scuffed them. And normally I'm like, I'm never wearing these shoes again. But when I was praying this morning, I asked God, give me something to talk about. What do I need to say? Telling my story is easy. Before I turned 40, you had a real conversation with me. Follow me or you'll have a rough life. And he kept talking to me about scars. See, I have a scar on this shoe. But that scar on my shoe doesn't stop the functionality of my shoe. That scar on my life at 7 years old, my parents divorced, didn't stop the functionality of my life. That scar of being cheated on by a high school boyfriend or girlfriend or somebody telling you you're not enough, you're not good enough, that doesn't stop the functionality of your life. Philippians 4:13 states, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. It doesn't matter about the scars that are imposed upon our lives, whether it's self-inflicted or it's inflicted by our parents, by our peers, by our friends, by outsiders, by social media. It doesn't matter about those scars. It matters what we say to ourselves. I told myself I was no good. I told myself I wasn't smart. My high school diploma read fudda-da-duh. I'm sorry, my transcript. Fudda-da-duh stands all F's, D's, D's, F's. You can't spell it, but to me that's what it looked like. Fudda-da-duh. Last card marking I got a 4.0. Never had a 4.0 a day in my life. But I prayed a lot. I seeked God a lot. And everything that I do now, daily, I'm always seeking God first. What do you have for me? See, I'm not a religious person. I'm not on religion. I was raised religious. And religion came with a bunch of rules, what you should do, what you shouldn't do, how you should dress, how you shouldn't dress, what you should listen to, what you shouldn't listen to. Those are all rules. But when I look in the Bible, God's word doesn't have that many rules about clothes and what you should wear and who you should talk to. When you read 1 Corinthians, the 13th chapter, in the end it says, if I have all these things and do not have love, I have nothing. Love conquers all. If you love yourself and the people around you love you, love conquers all. So how did I get here to this point? I had that prayer with God, and I told him, I'll follow your will. And he tested me. He said, I need you to start being very honest. So I wrote down, always be honest with yourself and everyone else, no matter how hard or painful the honesty may be. For a person that used to lie and blame other people, that was a difficult thing to do in the beginning. But the more I start being honest with myself and telling myself, you know what, you're not a bad person. You're a person that made mistakes. That scar that's on you, it'll heal. It won't be there forever. But just like any scar, if you put something on it, if you put some ointment on it, it heals a little sooner. If you put God's word in your life, you heal that much sooner. See, everybody may not understand your relationship with God, but everybody doesn't understand your struggle either. I don't know what any one of you go through at home. I don't know what it was like when you walked through this door. But what I do know, you have life, and you're here for a reason. It's completely up to us to discover what it is that God planted inside of us that we're supposed to grow. The world will give you rules and tell you who you should be and how you should do things and what's expected of you. And we focus on that, never finding joy. We find happiness. Happiness is an emotion. It's like a roller coaster. It goes up, it goes down. I was happy when I first put these shoes on, they didn't have a scuff on. When I scuffed them, happy was not the word I was thinking.
Yeah.
But when you have joy in the good times and the bad. So when you start listening to God and ask God, what does he have for you? What do you have for my life? Then you can realize that in the end, and all that I do and all that I go through, he'll be there. I want to read something to you. It's going to be from 1 Corinthians, the 10th chapter, the 13th verse. I won't preach a sermon, but it was something that was on my heart because I'm reading my Bible every single day, and not because someone says I should, just because it helps me to make it through my day. It helps me to walk around and hand out these inspiration cards and be very inspirational. I didn't get to being Mr. P.I.E.N, Mr. Positive and every negative overnight. It was through a series of events, bad events, good events, that happened throughout my life. It was through a series of events. You didn't get to where you at right now without any events happening in your life. And things happen. And sometimes those things happen just to test our faith. How much do we really believe in God? How much do we believe in his word? 1 Corinthians 10th chapter 13 verse says, no temptation has overtaken you, except what is common to mankind. And God is faithful. He will not let you be tempted beyond what you can bear. But when you are tempted, he will also provide a way out so that you can endure it. To me, it was simple. Whatever I go through, whatever I encounter, God has already provided a way out. He's already provided a way out. You may not understand everything that your parents want you to do. Your parents may not understand everything that you want to do. And that's completely fine. But if you get an understanding what God has for you, that's the best understanding you can ever have. You have to seek him. His word says it, seek first my kingdom. If you seek God, you can make a comeback from anything you encounter. I told you, I divorced my wife, my high school sweetheart, in 2013. Left her in 2014. Remarried to someone else in 2015 in a relationship I had no business being in. When I started seeking God and he started pulling out of me who I really was, the man that's standing before you today, I asked God about having my family back, about having my high school sweetheart back. I didn't think it was possible. On February 24th, 2019, we'll be getting married. All things are possible when you put Christ first in your life. I was supposed to graduate high school in 1995. I didn't. I showed back up for my senior year in 1996. Coming to the end of my senior year, they told me you have to go to night school in order to graduate because you messed up so much in your 9th grade year and some of your 10th grade year. I went back, went to night school. Some of my same old friends was there. I knew I wouldn't survive. So what did I do? Didn't go to night school. When it was time to graduate in 96, I walked out the front door on June the 12th, the last day of school, and never went back. In my mind, I was a dropout. I went through all that schooling and never finished. A year and a half later, I went back to an adult ed. I got my diploma. Then I joined the military. And I just started a transition in my life. But I still was holding on to a lot of bad things. 2012, I was driving a FedEx truck right in this neighborhood. One day I pulled up to this school like clockwork every day, and I got out of my truck and I said, I'm going to take classes here one day. I'm just getting an associate's degree in what? I have no clue. Just getting one because I think I should. 6 years later, I showed up and I'm taking classes, and this year in the summer, I'll graduate with an associate's degree in communication. Anything is possible when you believe in yourself and you believe what God tells you. Your parents don't know everything that's going to happen in your life, and your parents cannot protect you from everything that's going to happen in your life. And everything that you do may not line up with your parents' wants. But if you build a relationship with God, He will lead you, He will guide you. His word says it. I will never forsake you. I will never leave you behind. If you keep me first and you trust me, I'll get you there. It says a man's gift will make room for him and bring him in the presence of great men. My gift, I have a gift to speak. I have a gift to inspire. I'm in the presence of greatness right now. You all have a gift. You all have something very deep inside of you that only you may know about at times, that's pulling at your heartstrings that you just love, and you have to go after it. I didn't know when I divorced my wife. I didn't know when my mom and dad got divorced. I didn't know when I dropped out of high school that those things that I thought was obstacles was building blocks for the man that I am today. See, obstacles are not meant to stop us or to tear us down. Obstacles are meant to make you think. Think about things in a different way than you normally would. And when you build a relationship with God, He helps you to think about things in a different way. Romans 12:2, do not conform to the patterns of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Renew your mind. It's a daily routine. Sometimes it happens hourly, but it's your mind. We all have the life that we desire to have. We all can build the life that we choose to have. You have to ask yourself, what do I want from me? What does God want from me? And if you don't have the life that you desire, guess what? It's your fault. Regardless of how you want to look at it. If I wasn't standing here today, if I never was with my wife and my children again, if I never took classes again, it's my fault. God has already planted everything inside of us that we need. People see me walk up and down this hallway and I'm always smiling, I'm always bubbly, I'm always handing out inspiration cards. But everybody in here probably has never heard me tell that story of how I got here. You don't just wake up full of joy and energy all the time. I'm a realist. I don't always. But when I think about, you know what? I have another day of breathing. What do I have to complain about? I literally walked in this room on my own. Somebody can't do that. What do I have to complain about? I'm breathing without a machine. What do I have to complain about? I can reach in my back pocket, pull out a cell phone, it can give me directions from here to Hawaii. What do I have to complain about? God has made all things possible for you. There's no new miracles. There's no new blessings. They're already there. You just have to reach out and lay hold of them. Just reach out and lay hold of them, and He'll see you through.
Let's do Q&A, man.
That's good.
That's great.
That's my time. I'm stopping because I'm watching the clock. So
No, that's great.
thank you.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.